Hey, what's up YouTube? So we've got an update to the video I posted a little bit ago, upgrading from AGM to lithium iron phosphate batteries. And in that previous video I showed that my current alternator wasn't quite big enough to handle 60 amps of charging from the Renogy charger, and that I was going to upgrade. Well, the day has come, we've upgraded. So luckily for me, got an older Chevy, 98, got the 4.3 Vortec, same thing as the V8. So I can upgrade to this alternator, which is a 140 amp alternator. I believe the part number is AD244. And it honestly really bolts right into place. No modifications needed for anything. My electrical system, the computer plugged right in. Only thing I had to do was I had to move that heater pipe over just a little tiny bit. Just nudge it with a screwdriver, and that was it. Ordered the belt that's an inch longer. Everything went right on. Upgraded my wire from a 4 gauge to a 1/0. Now it's running nice and cool. Got a new A&L fuse holder there to handle the 1/0. I also learned that putting ferrules on the ends of your wire makes a better connection. That you don't crimp it. You just put a ferrule on the end, slide it in the end of the A&L, and then you tighten her down. Works a lot better. So I wanted to discuss something that I've seen a lot of videos on since I made my video. And a lot of people are saying that you don't need to have a DC to DC charge controller for lithium iron phosphate batteries if you have a big enough alternator. And I'm sorry, but I have to disagree here, because I'll show you right now what I'm talking about. So we've got our clamp meter. All right, I got it set. We're going to put it on amps for DC. We're going to zero it. All right, so as you can see with the light right here, there we go, 100 amps. So between the charge controller, sorry, I'm trying to balance this, guys, with my headlight and the camera. So we got 73 amps going back to the charge controller. The rest of it is going to run the truck. And I've tested this alternator. It actually puts out more than advertised. I've tested it to 155 amps. So we've got plenty of capacity left over. Let's do a voltage reading real quick. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. Alright, as you can see, we're at 14.2, which is good. The truck is actually idled up on its own. The ECM will actually idle it up. But the problem is you're going to have voltage loss by the time you get back here. I don't care how good your cabling is. Look, we're under such high of a load. Sorry, let me balance. This is really tricky to do with a headlight and using a camera. Holy cow. There we go. So we're at 13.7, 13.8. We're kind of floating around there. But the job of your charge controller is to put out a constant voltage. See how that smooths right out? Now, I have this thing set to 14.6. So even though it's reading 13.56 right now, it is stepping up the voltage, and that's why our amperage is higher. Because let's do another reading. All right, we're zeroed out pretty much. So as you can see, 72 amps going in. All right, 62 going out. So there's a 10 amp loss there, and that 10 amps loss is because it's boosting the voltage. Let me exaggerate this a little bit more. The ECM has idled the truck up. Let me see if I can idle it back down. Oh yeah, let me crack the throttle. That'll idle it back down. All right, now we're back down to regular idling RPM, about 650, 700. Okay, now that makes actually a big difference here. All right, see, are we still set on voltage? No, we're not. All right, so voltage. All right, sorry guys, kind of hard with one hand, hold the camera. All right, actually you can see, dang nabbit. All right, our voltage has dropped 11.5. That's because we're back down now. It's not going to be that up front. It's going to be higher. But remember, we're under high load. But look, voltage coming out is still the same. So, I don't know if you can hear that on camera, but the computer just idled the truck back up again. But the point of this is, what I'm trying to say here is, I don't believe the people who say that you don't need a DC to DC charge controller, because as I just showed you with a voltmeter, depending on, are you sitting there idling, are you driving down the road, what are you doing? You know, is this on a boat? Is this set up on a boat? Are you just putting down the river, or are you up at like 1800 RPMs cruising down the waterway? With your DC to DC charge controller, it does not matter what your RPM is and what your alternator is putting out voltage wise. That's not going to matter. This is going to charge your batteries properly. Whereas I believe just a straight connection to your batteries from the alternator, that's not going to charge your batteries properly. As you can see, the voltage coming in here at idle was just at 11.6. Well, if that was the case, these batteries wouldn't be charging at all. Even at a low voltage, these batteries are at 13 volts or above. So to even put any kind of charge into them, it has to be above 13 volts minimum. But that's it. Everything's working great now on my rig. This is another connection I did not have ferrules in. This is a 2-aught wire going to the inverter. And it was actually getting hotter on this part of the wire than the whole rest of the wire. So I put ferrules in there, cranked it back down, and that fixed the whole problem. You know, some of you might say, oh, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. You should have known that. Well, you know what? I didn't. Whatever. So now I do know. If you have stranded copper wires, put a ferrule on the end before you crank them down in there. That'll make a better electrical connection. But I just wanted to share that with y'all. This is my setup. We are now fully upgraded to lithium iron phosphate. And if things go well, I should get 10 to 20 years of life out of this rig. As long as the BMS doesn't break, we should be good to go. Definitely get you a DC to DC charge controller. I do like this one from Renergy, simply because it has the option to cut the amperage in half. Right now we're running wide open at 60 amps, which is what I wanted to do. But if something happens and that alternator that I bought craps out on me, I can always go back to my factory original, and I know that this guy will easily run at the 30 amp setting. And you know, I keep the old belt because it's an inch shorter. I'll just throw that in the basement. I got a backup. Got these off of Amazon. These are ferrules, got a bunch of different sizes, goes all the way up to 2-aught. So it was cheap. I think it was like 12 bucks. Pick up a set. Alright, YouTube, later.